Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But, in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they give the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Hello, beginning music technology classes. Hopefully you recognized the famous Gettysburg Address, delivered by President Abraham Lincoln over 150 years ago. I chose this particular speech because I find it inspiring and still relevant today. But that is a discussion for another time. So when I selected this speech, of course, I was thinking about the music that I would like to accompany it. Um, and for me, one particular piece of music came to mind. I'm not sure if it's because I watched so many documentaries on the subject, but I thought that the Battle Hymn of the Republic would be a good fit. And this piece of music was written around the same time as the address. So it's possible that President Lincoln was familiar with the Battle Hymn of the Republic. So what I did is I found the piece of music and I derived the harmonic structure, the chord progressions, if you will. But another useful way to approach this would be to select a piece of music and you could look up the chords yourself. Like most anything these days, it's most things are on the internet, out on the World Wide Web. Now, Dr. Edwards in the E-class has provided various resources concerning harmony, chords, chord progressions. So if you select this one, the chord progression web, it will take you to hooktheory.com. And here you could select a chord and follow that by maybe another chord or two, and you would begin seeing see songs, pieces of music that use these chords. And then you'll find the chords listed, chord progressions. And actually, if you look, this is essentially MIDI data. So I think that's a really useful resource. Again, that is at the homepage for your class in eClass, and that's Chord Progression Web, along with the other resources. So once I had figured out what the chords were that I wanted to use, I went into Soundtrap and I used the piano roll to create the chords, the chord progressions, the loops. Now for me, I found it useful to create the chord progression first. And then what I did is I listened to it using earphones, and I read the speech and recorded it. And then I was able to take that audio track and import it into Soundtrap and sync everything up. So that worked for me, but you may find that there's another way that works better for you. But that's my process. So I hope you enjoyed the speech that I selected, and I hope that you found it useful to see what process I used in creating my monologue and the accompanying musical track. When we have speech set to a music, the music's called the underscoring. So that's another term that you'll hear is the underscoring for a monologue or a spoken word piece. So I hope you have fun with this project. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out to Dr. Edwards via email or any other means of communication he may have specified.